It seems to me what you have described to us when you ran the company, you allowed a subsidiary that was unregulated in London to collateralize the credit rating agencies' positions of the main company here in the United States, and didn't really put much equity or capital into the London FP. Is that correct?
I'm not quite didn't understand your question. They had a unit in London, but it was managed. We had oversight of it. We had risk.
But it had no regulator either in the UK or in the United States. It had no regulator. It was without regulation.
No, that's not true. The Office of Thrift Administration.
That was a bank that was owned in your line. It wasn't that organization.
But my understanding, though, is that the Office of Thrift Regulation did go to London and oversee that unit.
You mean because they had $1 billion thrift organization, they sent this regulator all around the world to regulate and look over and audit multi-hundreds of billions of dollars of assets?
I believe that they did look at AIG FP in its entirety.
Okay. I guess it would, if the regulator went over there, would have made a great trip for a regulator to go over. But certainly there wasn't a full-time a seat in AIG FP in London. We didn't have a representative there watching something that was carrying on $2.7 trillion.
That's notional value.
Yeah. That's what you can lose.
Well, yeah, but that's notional value. That's nothing like the real value. It's notional.
Well, haven't we lost or had to pay out to counterparties somewhere close to $80 billion already out of Treasury?
Well, we've talked about that, and I think that I think that that's not the fault of, I would say, of AIG. I think that was part of the part of the bailout, which I think should have been done differently.
Well,
that's why I'm here.
If we hadn't had failure of that organization, if we hadn't had failure of AIG, we wouldn't have a bailout and we wouldn't be here today. That's conceded. Yeah. And probably there wouldn't have been failure of any of those organizations if the market hadn't turned significantly. Those are all contingencies, but the fact is nobody was overviewing that. I want to get more to the essence of what we should do in the future. Do you really think it's reasonable to allow an insurance company in the United States that has normal insurance that it's writing to set up this organization in London that escapes real regulation, and let them deal in the trillions of dollars of speculation, and to some people's comment that they were out of their league, that they just weren't able to do the job, that it was really high risk?
I think there are several questions that you have in there that I think need to be answered. First of all, the insurance subsidiaries of AIG were fully protected under state. May I finish?
But let's stop there. That's one nice thing to say. They're fully protected. But if they're fully protected and you weren't utilizing their collateral or assets, then that FP was completely without funds to pay off counterparties.
No.
Where were they going to meet the call that would occur if there was a failure?
AIG parent had capital of its own through retained earnings that had been.
I think you talked about $5 billion or something?
No. AIG parent, my recollection, had about $70 billion of retained earnings. Okay. So AIG parent.
Well, I don't want to go into all the structure and everything because I'm really not interested. Now I'm interested in what's the principle that we have to pass to find out how we should regulate or how we will regulate in the future.